Hi everyone, welcome back. So before we can get to what to expect in 2025, we first have to talk about blueprints. So it's a common understanding among those who are deep in spiritualism and those who had things like near-death experiences that we choose what we want to accomplish and work on before we incarnate into the physical world. And then we make choices once we're here that determine which past life we sink in with the most this lifetime. Now, that might not be a common understanding because I have definitely heard it differently, but that's what my counsel said, and so I'm going to stick with it. So all of our past lives are available to us at any given moment. We can access the knowledge, the wisdom, the information to bring it into our current lifetime, to learn new lessons, to explore new opportunities, and to really better understand what this life that we're in has to offer to its fullest. And it is up to us to choose which path we follow. But when things feel faded, it's because those possibilities came together, like a puzzle. And so there are an infinite number of other possibilities that would also feel very faded if they were to come together, if they were given the focus and the space to actually do so. And you can think of it kind of like, when you move to a new place and you meet a new person and you think, wow, this person is so great. And if I had never moved here, I would have never met them. And okay, that might be true. But if you never moved there, then there would have been someone else that you met that was equally as great because there was an equally strong possibility for that meeting to take place. You just chose a different path, and so you met the other person. Okay, so blueprints. Everyone's blueprint is different, and so when you are thinking about yours, think about the things that have been constant in your life, that you have done constantly, or what it is that you can't live without. Is it music? Is it poetry? Is it building community, which that word community we'll get back to later, but really think about what it could have been that you were born into this life with, your gifts, your skills, because we were all born with those things. And I know, we're just talking mostly about an aspect of the blueprint. And you can think about your experiences, because I am positive that that blueprint of yours has been interwoven throughout them all of your life. Then the council suggested that we create a physical representation of our blueprint. And so a physical representation, that would be our life, right? Well, yeah, but then they said with the outer world on top, moving into the inner self. So I know that that might be a hard image to find, but initially I just pictured it on a piece of paper, drawn out. And then, of course, we're at the center of it. And so everything becomes filtered through the inner self. What do I mean by that? Well, here is what I find the most interesting. So, and I'll use myself as an example. Everything for me, the things that I love, the things that I'm talented at, I can partake in if they are outside of spirituality. Of course we do, right? We watch a movie, we chat with friends, and we're not always talking about something spiritual. But in terms of creating abundance for myself, they have to always be filtered through a spiritual lens. And when they're not, it may work for a little bit of time, but eventually the bottom falls out and I'm starting again. And so there's usually something that kind of becomes like a container for the gifts and for the skills that you were incarnated into this world with. You may most definitely, absolutely know that you are supposed to be on stage somewhere as a public speaker. But when you picture yourself on that stage, what exactly are you talking about? Are you talking about animal rights? Are you talking about politics? Are you talking about social justice? Are you talking about psychology? Like, what is it exactly? And are you weaving one of those topics throughout other content the way that I do with spirituality? I was in grad school a number of years ago presenting my final critical thesis on something, and I was there at the podium and I had done all my research and I was going through my slides, and a lot of the literature that I had chosen to examine was about landscapes, natural landscapes, mostly throughout the United States. And when I got done, people came up to me and said, "Oh, wow, it really felt like you were transcending something. Were you trying to transcend something?" And I thought, oh, well, here it goes again. Even in my critical work, the way that I approach things still feels some way spiritual. Those are the kinds of things that you want to think about whenever you're thinking about your blueprint. Is it that you want to save every ant or bird or butterfly that you see outside? Is it that you absolutely hate watching people in pain? Is it that you wish that you could totally heal the planet all the time, and that is one of the things that you wake up thinking about, or one of the things that you go to bed feeling deeply? And so really just pay attention to that. And there may be a couple of things, but you want to take notice of the thing that feels the most prominent. And in a lot of ways, for a lot of us, we've been living in an opposite way, right? Not filtering things through our inner self, not considering what our blueprint looks like or what we're really here and meant to do. So we have to rebalance and renew and refresh our own legacies here on earth. It's one of the reasons why the information about the lifetimes in the beginning of this video came through so differently than I've ever heard before. It's because the timelines are collapsing, and who we were is in some other lifetime can very much be who we are in this lifetime and who we were meant to be. How our legacies fall in line with other people we are around, I mean, it impacts us. It impacts this lifetime, it impacts our future generations, because there are a number of people we've chosen to incarnate with into this life, this physical life with. And when one of us is not striving to live up to our potential, it weakens the fabric, and it leaves us living in far more fear and turmoil than ever needed. So at the end of speaking with my counsel, they showed me an image of many people, and they all had lights in their chest, like around that heart chakra area, and everyone was lit up like a lantern. The action step around that was to find a few minutes, however often you need to, and really just think about that one thing that you want for yourself or for someone else or for a group of people, and really just try to feel into it. And as long as it's coming from a good place with good intentions, it almost doesn't matter what it is, but visualize it, write it down, say it out loud, and doing those three things will help compound the intention. But again, it really doesn't matter what exactly it is. What does matter is that when we do that, when we visualize that for someone else or for ourselves, it helps us to raise the collective vibration. And in case you haven't noticed, the theme for now and moving forward into the future indefinitely is unity. We have to create it, we have to find it, we got to seek it out, right? And we can see that already starting to happen. I mean, Look at the 92 percenters who are coming together and celebrating each other. Look at how united we were over the CEO being unalived, regardless of our political affiliation. And raising the collective vibration helps us see and hear what actions we need to take personally and collectively to help safeguard ourselves and the earth against all of the attacks that are happening globally. It helps us better receive guidance from our God or source energy or our spirit team. And it helps activate and reinforce Christ consciousness and the power of the masters, be it political, spiritual, or humanitarian. We get to access that, gather it all up, and use it as a sonic boom against the BS. Okay, so now on to what is coming and what you can expect in 2025. A person on Threads said that 2025 will be the year that the expert dies, or it will be the death of the expert. And some of the things that he listed include, and I'm just going to read them off my screen over there: empty certificates replaced by lived wisdom, cookie cutter coaches replaced by authentic guides, social proof replaced by energetic resonance, and strategy replaced by presence. Then he writes, the future belongs to those who can hold space, not just hold attention. I wholeheartedly believe that he hit it out of the park with that one. That's not all that I suspect will be or is on its way, but this is definitely some of the things that we can expect. That last phrase about holding space, though, it really gave me pause. I feel like sometimes we use phrases and we don't quite understand what they mean. But holding space, just creating a supportive and non-judgmental environment for someone to show up and fully be themselves and be listened to and heard, is something that we are all craving. And that phrase, holding space, really ties into community. Something else that I am exploring and really getting familiar with what it means. So every time I use that word, I think now, okay, so what exactly does it mean? Why? Because it's time to re-envision what it means and recreate it in a way that better supports us. But okay, so let's run through these really quickly. The first one that person mentioned on Threads was that empty certificates were going to be replaced by lived wisdom. That is sounding really good to me. I have 3 degrees and I was a class shy of a 4th. And I remember thinking like, I could probably sell these on eBay and get more money than what they've made me. Back when eBay was popular. Is it still popular? I don't know. But I'm not trying to knock anyone that, is a lifelong learner. I am definitely that, just no more in the formal spaces. And I do feel that, really learning from people who have that lived wisdom is definitely overlooked and has been for quite some time. And it's ridiculous, to think that those that have certificates could outweigh the experience of those that have actually just been living life and understand how to learn. It's like one thing, and we all start somewhere, and again, I'm not trying to knock anyone, but one thing I know for sure, I was talking to a girl I used to be friends with some years ago, and she was saying, oh yeah, I had to go defend my my dissertation or do something, or her master's thesis, like whatever it was. And she was like, and I totally forgot. And so I took 10 minutes and Googled some stuff and went and presented. And I was like, yeah, that's about all we need these days, Give me an hour and I can tell you pretty much how to do anything. So the next one was cookie cutter coaches replaced by authentic guides. Yes, please. I am so sick of seeing the same stuff offered across the internet just because somebody told you copying and pasting works. Now, it definitely did for a while. And I feel like that is dying because people now are looking again for authenticity. They're looking again for something that aligns with them. And they're looking for coaches who can understand that everybody's not a one size fits all. And just because it worked for them doesn't mean that it's going to work for you, right? So coaches who put together information that's more aligned with teaching. You know how a good teacher can help you think and process and intuit on your own? That's the type of thing that people will be looking for moving forward. Not just here's the proven method, follow it, even though it wasn't designed for you because it was a download for them. Okay, and the third one was social proof replaced by energetic resonance. It is about time. I don't know what it is, but I've always struggled in the social, media space. Getting followers, being consistent, doing all that stuff. And it really just has pained me over the last maybe 5 years or so with trying to get contracts and business and that kind of thing. People want the social proof. They want to see that you've got tons of followers. They want to see that you're popular out on the platforms. And I feel like it does, like it's just a disservice to those who really are talented and really are skilled and maybe just don't have that big of a following. It doesn't mean that you are not capable. And, in terms of your talents and your strengths and the things that you can accomplish, because you don't spend tons of your energy towards a following or towards, gaining that following or cultivating it. With that said, though, I am trying to do better, not for the sake of that, just because I would like to reach more people at this point. And I do feel like I have tons to share. And so what better way than to spend 2025 getting real acquainted with these platforms to see which one works best for me. And I also think that we're going to have more opportunities to work with people in person. And so that social proof will, it won't even be a thing that comes up. So meeting someone in person has always had the power to create a connection a whole lot faster than something on the internet anyway. And for that last one, strategy replaced by presence, I'm almost feeling like it should have been strategy replaced by intuition. And what I feel is if we're talking about something like business, for example, then that would mean just kind of doing away with these supposed like proven strategies and instead looking to see what's actually working and amplifying that and fine-tuning it and creating a more organic strategy out of that instead. I mean, that would make a ton of sense to me. And that's oftentimes why corporations will contract to strategists to have them come in and see what they can't see. So this is kind of already taking place, but they certainly don't use the word intuition. They just have got a real fantastic skill and strategy that they promote. And so maybe a part of that will also be just actually using the language that, defines it. Instead of feeling like that is too woo-woo or not professional, enough to use. So a couple other things that I see that are not on his list that will be happening more so in 2025 is one, people no longer supporting businesses and corporations that do not give a flying fig about their staff, the customers and clients that they serve, or their impact on the environment or the world. We have been seeing that already with, the boycotting of Walmart and people unsubscribing from the Washington Post and from Amazon Prime delivery. And I think that that is definitely going to continue. It's like, at some point you got to draw the line in the sand. And we are at that point with a lot of things. It is definitely feeling like that is our new way for advocating and for protesting against the things that are important to us. People are putting together this strike kind of thing. Don't buy anything. Don't go to work, for a specific time frame in 2025. And I do hope that that, gains momentum and really get some traction. And the last thing for now that I see happening in 2025 is that everybody's getting superpowers. We've already had them, they're just coming alive for people, no longer dormant. I'm seeing it already, and it is fascinating. People are like, what is happening to me? I'm having all these weird dreams. How did I know that she was going to say that? Oh my God, I heard the knocking before someone knocked. Did an alien just visit me last night? This is crazy. And I want to say fantastic. It'll be really exciting to see, how rapidly we evolve. And the thing about that is I genuinely do not believe that when it comes specifically to that it mattered, really who was or who is in office. I mean, the bottom line is that it was going to happen anyway. So it was more of a question of how we wanted to do it, whether or not we wanted to do it with a little bit of grace and ease and joy, or if we wanted to do it with chaos and more discomfort. And even if Dark Brandon showed up and saved us all from the broligarchy, like, it's still going to happen. And maybe next time I'll share with you guys what happened to me in the elevator where I live in the complex. I got stuck in some little time matrix shuffle. But anyway, I'll save that for next time, because that's all for today. And I hope that you got something out of this and that you enjoyed it. But as you can see, the sun has completely gone down. I've pulled the blinds down, and so it is time for me to go, and I will see you next time.